Both Tom and I, we've given money to GRIP, which is the gang prevention program. We've supported Teen Court. We've supported a number of organizations using the money in that fashion. The other money basically says law enforcement purposes. So we are restricted on how we can use it, and we do have to be very careful. So that's about all I could say about it in this short time. I mean, there's no, I know that you were interested in that.
Do you have any thoughts about where prosecution levels are going, or the volumes of cases, or the stresses on your department?
Well, I think it's a huge stress on our department. There's no question about it, because the cases, like I said before, take years, and there's multiple motions, so they're very difficult, and it's really a stressful position to be in as a prosecutor, to feel like this unending wave that absolutely there's no end to. And so I think that is a big drain on the office. Obviously, many of the marijuana crimes are violent crimes. That is our first priority, are violent crimes. But that doesn't mean we ignore all the other different types of crimes that we have. So.
Let's thank our panel. As our sheriff has mentioned, he has some handouts on our Attorney General's guidelines. It's an 11-page document. You'll find it fascinating. As fascinating as a legal document can be, I suppose. Now, if you had questions that you would like to have asked at the end of the session, please write them on the red card that you have, or if you didn't get a red card, there are other colors of cards out there, but do the best you can to stick with the red card unless you have something else. Now, our next panel is going to be a medical panel, and we have three folks with credentials, real credentials, letters after their name, doctors. We have Dr. William Courtney, who is a medical doctor, and Dr. Marvin Trotter, who is a Mendocino County Public Health Officer, and Ralph Cantor from the Alameda County Office of Education. Now, each of these three gentlemen brings unique perspectives on the medical aspect of marijuana in our county. And I think we have some PowerPoint presentations. Did we get all the various technical parts of that worked out, fellas? We did? Okay, we think we're in good business, in good shape here. Now, from our survey, I would like to point out that the public has some opinions about medical marijuana, or the medical aspects of marijuana, and I'd like to share with you the results of the survey on a couple of these questions. Now, I do apologize for not having a completely compiled statistical report at this point, but due to the last-minute nature of some of the publicity efforts, we were not able to provide that in full detail, but it will be posted on the website within probably about a week, and monthly thereafter for the next year. But here's what the people thought about marijuana. Here was the question. Marijuana is a useful medicine for some people. 85.4% agreed with that statement. Whether they used it or not, they seemed to agree with it. Second, marijuana should be tested and certified as a prescription drug so doctors could prescribe it. 65% of you agreed with that. And lastly, marijuana is classified as a Schedule I dangerous drug. This classification should be reclassified to Schedule II or III controlled drug so its legal status would be more in line with its actual uses. 79% agreed with that. That's a very strong level of agreement on some of these aspects. And since the demographics show that many of the people who took the survey were not users themselves, I think it shows some thoughtfulness on the part of the public. Now, gentlemen, I didn't put you down in any particular order. Does anybody want to go first? Nobody wants to go first. Everybody wants the last word. Dr. Trotter, would you care to lead off?
I probably have the least amount to say. First of all, I've been involved with this situation since Tony Craver and Norm Voroman asked me to their office to discuss how to implement 215 many years ago. And I think we worked out a system that worked quite well for a few years. You had to have my signature to get a card, essentially. So the physicians in the county, I spoke with a large majority of them, and they were quite rational in the people that they sent to me, the forms that they sent, and the people that were using the cards. I thought the system worked quite well. I think there was a great deal of good insight for the physicians that were asking me to sign off for people who had significant diseases. I signed the first card myself for a friend who lived in Leggett who has since died of AIDS. I do think there are some medical uses for marijuana. Having said that, I think that the large majority of marijuana is not used for medical uses and is not necessary to treat most medical conditions. Having said that, I am most concerned with societal norms surrounding medical marijuana. Unfortunately, I think that there are far too many people involved in the marijuana industry in this county that makes it a very hard sell to the youth of our society that this isn't a good deal. There is a difference. There is a difference between marijuana and bagels. There is a difference between marijuana and bagels. And I think if any teenager was having 3 or 4 shots of vodka a day,